Hello, boys and girls of YouTube. I'm Brian. You're on the BS Adventure channel. We're getting back into the van today. We're going to finish those hardwood floors. Let's roll. All right, got the edging done. Turned out pretty good, pretty smooth. It's not perfect, but I'm okay with not perfect. It's just a lot better than it was. The floor does have some waviness to it because the subfloor or these crossbars aren't perfectly level, so you get a little waviness there. And then also this floor is from the 50s or 60s, so it's pretty old. You know, you saw when I was installing it, there was a lot of boards that were, warped like bananas and all kinds of stuff. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to vacuum all the cracks out, get the sawdust out, and then ironically what I'm going to do is actually take the sawdust. I saved the oak sawdust. I'm going to mix it with some glue and then fill these cracks. And kind of use that as like a putty to fill the cracks and see how that works, and then sand that off. Okay, gonna make some putty for the floors here. I'll show you how I do it. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a thunderstorm coming through. Where you at? So just wood glue. It's real simple. This is the 80 grit sawdust from sanding the floors, edging, and voila. Give her a stir, and you get kind of a paste. Add a little more glue. It's just like, making bread. Can you see that? It's a little dry, like my humor. Okay, and we pick up the camera. So kind of using the putty knife to push this down into the cracks. Kind of push hard to get it to fill, and then wipe off the excess because I'm going to have to sand it off. And I'll have to use the random because we returned the edger, which is fine, but the random isn't as aggressive as that edger. So I'll just continue that process. I got the putty all in the cracks and letting it dry. Like there's a couple big cracks back here, you can see. Now it'll probably shrink a little bit, and I'll probably have to do a second or third coat. It's not a big deal. It seemed to work pretty well though. It's a good little hack if you don't have, they make like some trowelable style putty you can put on, but this was basically free, just glue and the sawdust. Next day, guys, I got the floor all finished sanded and finished puttied. It turned out a little dark in a couple spots, but it'll be fine. And yeah, I ran the random with 40 and then 80, and it came out nice and smooth. So waiting on the finish to show up and the applicator. My dad had to go to town, so he's grabbing those for me. I got to go to work tomorrow, so if I can get a coat on it this afternoon, maybe I can get another coat tomorrow morning. Should be coming right along. It's looking good. I'm pretty stoked on how it's turning out. Solid oak floors. I'll have to, do some trim around here. It's not a big deal. And then I still need to fill this in, which is not a big deal. And I mentioned it before, I don't want to do that until I fix the seal on the door, because water does come in right here and goes down into that corner. Okay guys, I started coating, so I'm going to set you up and film that. You see? There you go. So I'm putting this oil-based finish on. Oops, poured a little too much. It's okay. So you got to kind of move this stuff around, especially first coat. If you leave it sit anywhere too long, you'll get stains. Oh, I really like how oak looks. It's one of my favorites. Oh, there's a little dip from the edger. Whoops. Missed that. Uh-oh, cops are here.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, man.
Hang on one sec, man. I'll be right with you. Did your dispatch tell you what I called about?
Yeah, it was about a VIN on a car.
I'm a resident of Oregon.
Yeah.
And I need to register this vehicle in Oregon, and they need a VIN verification.
I've never done one of those. Do you have that form with you?
Yeah, I do. It's in the front. How's your day?
Oh, pretty good. How about yourself?
Not bad. So yeah, I bought this van. Actually bought this van in Florida, and I need to drive it back to Oregon. I don't think it's a good idea to drive across country with no plates. Okay, I got that first coat on. It's pretty good. You can't really see it, but I got a little heavy right there. and a little light spot right there. I can always sand it and make that work on the second coat. It'll turn out fine. I think it looks pretty nice. What do you guys think? If you guys are digging this content, or if it helps you out in any kind of way, leave a thumbs up or subscribe or do all that jazz they tell you to do. It's the next morning. I came out here, sanded the floor with 220 just to knock down the finish. When you put the finish the first coat, it tends to raise the grain of the wood a little bit, make it a little rough. So I sanded that with 220, and then I kind of re-puttied a couple spots that were a little low. I do need to get to work. I thought maybe I could get a coat on this morning, but I don't want to rush it. So I'm gonna let this bit of putty dry, let this sit. I'll come back to it tomorrow, clean it, vacuum it, tack cloth it with a damp tack cloth, and then put a second coat on it. Hopefully it should be enough because I'm pretty low on finish, but I think 2 will be good. I think 2 will be fine. If not, I'll go buy another quart or something like that. Hey guys, so I just sold the, I probably shouldn't do this while I drive. I just sold the stock wheels and tires off the van. I only got 300 bucks for them. I just wanted to move them, but that puts money back in my pocket. You know, I paid about, I think, $580 or something for the 33s. So that brings the price kind of back down a little bit, and that was kind of the idea. Anyways, I gotta drive. This is stupid. I was just talking about selling the stock tires for the van. Just in case you guys haven't seen the earlier videos, or if you're new here, I bought these for it a few months back. So these are a 285 75/16 all-terrain that I put on it, and they work out to about a 33-inch tire. And then those are actually old Ford van wheels, which are 16 by 7, I think, or 16 by 7.5. So those are wider than the stock Chevy rims, so those tires would work well. So that's what I put on it because I wanted more ground clearance than the stock tires. And it's getting a 2.5-inch lift in the front at some point when I get to it. But I just wanted to throw that in there so you knew what I was talking about when I was saying I sold the stock tires that came on this, and I put these aftermarket, well, different wheels and tires on here. Get more ground clearance because this van is going to spend a lot of time in remote places. What are you doing, cat? What are you doing? You making biscuits? It's not exactly the next morning. It's been a few days. I worked for a few days. I stayed over at my sister's because it's closer to my new job. I'm going to sand the putty off the floors and just give this a quick clean again, a vacuum and a wipe. And then I'm going to put that second coat on I was talking about, and we'll see how this turns out. I think it should be good. I sanded the putty off those cracks. You saw that just now. And I just re-hit everything with 220 to kind of feather it all out. And then I vacuumed it. Now I'm going to tack cloth it with these cloths and a little bit of water. Just wring them out real good. Let that dry for a little while and then put some finish on. Okay, there you go. I got that second coat on. Looks pretty good. Feel like I got a pretty even. See, it's starting to dry already in a couple spots. It's been a few minutes. Where I sanded that putty, I might have sanded through the finish in a couple spots. So I might have to hit it with a third coat. We'll see how it turns out. I'll show you the finished product when it dries, probably tomorrow. So there we go, coat number 2. It's the next day. It's later in the day. I had to go mow my sister's lawn this morning and then sit inside for a while and recoup from the heat. Turned out pretty good. Feels like there's a little bit of junk in the finish. It's dry, but it's not hard. And when I put the finish on yesterday, the humidity was like 77% or something. It was really humid. So I think that can slow down the dry time. I'm leaving on a trip in a couple days, so that's gonna have to do for now. if it needs a little touch up or tune up or whatever, when I get back, I can always sand it again and then put a third coat on it if it needs it. Just for the extra protection, make it a little thicker. Well, I'll play by ear. But it looks nice. I like how it looks. There's a couple little imperfections. There's a little edger mark out there, and there's a little dip here and there, but whatever, man. It looks good. I'm happy with it.